Trading days, May 23rd, 2016. This is just a video that I'm adding on to the alert. Reason being, we've got a what would be looked at as a fairly significant aspect this week on May the 26th, on Thursday, and that is Jupiter in waning square to Saturn. This is an important cycle, commonly known as the business cycle, which covers typically the growth and expansion of the economy. And if we think about it, this is Jupiter and Saturn. The next planet out, Uranus, it wasn't discovered until 1781, so anything before that time, Saturn was the furthest out in in our solar system. Let's look at this chart. This is the chart that's been on the weekly blog for quite a few months now. I also had the Saturn-Neptune on here as well, but I took it off to emphasize what we're looking at, the Jupiter-Saturn aspects. Pardon me. And let's look at it here. These red squares, these are the squares that we're dealing with right now, Jupiter and Saturn. WAN, meaning waning. This is a weekly chart, so this is a 3-pass. If you read what's on here, and it's been here for months, every pass of the waning square between Jupiter and Saturn that has been a 3-pass, which this is, has resulted in a longer-term cycle unfolding between the first two. And something certainly unfolded here, whether it was the 4-year cycle, the 6.5-year cycle, we can't confirm that yet. But certainly a longer-term cycle looks like it's had an effect. And there could be one more yet. If we look at down here, we've got double arrows meaning arrows pointing each way. So that's to denote the opposition between Jupiter and Saturn. And I'll come back to that in a minute. The red squares here, these are the squares between Jupiter and Saturn as well, but these are the waxing squares, the squares that take place between the conjunction and the opposition, whereas the waning square is going to be between the opposition and the next conjunction. Now, according to Gann, famous not astrologer, market person, his outlook after, this is a very good is not a good example of it, but basically his thoughts were that after the opposition, the economy tends to drift down to the next conjunction. Remember, I'm saying this is a weekly chart, and the chart we've looked at for quite a few months. I'm going to jump out here, use this same chart, but change it to a monthly chart. Okay, so now we've got these are red squares. They're the same red squares we just looked at. And we'll see now we're starting at 1915. So let's just go through a couple. We had a conjunction. That's what the small circle, red circle is. This was in 1921. So we had a big run-up. In the middle of the run-up, we had the Jupiter waxing square to Saturn. It went up. That's the tie at 1929, and these 3 arrows again, they're the opposition. So Gann said two things. We get a pullback at the opposition until It'll be down until the next conjunction. And he also said there was not a three pass. Pardon me, got a bit of a cold. He looked at this as a 20-year cycle, which it is, but he also looked at it as a 60-year cycle. In other words, 3 20-year cycles. And if we do that and we go 1, 2, 3, we get the fairly sharp pullback that we had in 1990. So every third opposition, he was expecting a bigger pullback than normal. So we're going to be waiting for a while for the next one. It's every third. It's every 60 years. If we look here, we're in 1930, and if we look at the 1930, look at the 1970, and we're out 60 years. That's not right. We're out. Let me do that again. 1, 2, 3. So we're out 1990. We're 60 years from this pullback that occurred in 1930. Now let's just go through these. So we had a conjunction. We've got the waxing square. We've got the opposition. We've got the waning square, and then we go back to the conjunction again. Every cycle works that way. So when we're talking and looking at, someone says, or I say, there's an aspect of Jupiter squaring Saturn, you want to know if it's waxing or waning to get an idea of where it is in the synodic cycle. At the conjunction, this is when the energies kind of get together and point to the issues and happenings that are going on at that period of time that are going to be carried through the cycle. That will have an effect on this, on everything in this cycle. And the same will happen at every conjunction. A good one to look at to get that idea. Here we had a real tight 3-pass. There's 3 separate exact conjunctions there, but the point here is there is no exactness. You've got to look at this over 6 months to a year. You'll see that after 6 months, how far is that? 1981, 1982. Well, that's a year afterwards. But it does give you an idea where they are in the timing. What happened in this case, and it's kind of unusual, we started here in 1981, waxing square opposition, waning square. This was just a complete straight run-up into 2000, and then we had the dot-com bust and all the pullbacks and lows because of that. Normally, this is not a straight line. You'd expect more of a pullback around the opposition. So that's the main points, I guess. There's a 20-year cycle approximately. They're geocentric transits, so they're not exact because of retrograde motion. So the normal length is approximately 20 years. And then W.D. Gann found a 60-year cycle. Every third opposition typically ushered in a recession of various depths. Okay, I hope that helps, and I'll add this to the alert. Thanks for listening.